great to be here tonight. Wow. First of all, I want to thank Mary and Otis. Otis, you have to get early, don't you, darling? Yes, that's what I thought. I think you go 5 to 7 in the morning. Yes. Oh, God bless you. Anyway, I want to thank Seth Abraham because he's one of the members of your board, but I just like to thank the board and everyone for including me tonight in our Time Warner family tribute, and to the other honorees, to Richard, Bryant, Terry, and Dr. Don, if I can call you that. Well done. Really, it's amazing to be in your company, and I'm glad I'm part of the team tonight. It means a lot. And when you saw these young people up here, I just have to say this before I start talking about Arthur. The Health Science Academy, I got my photo taken with them, and you know how we always think our youth doesn't get it, and you know, about tomorrow and all that. They give you such hope for the future, I cannot tell you. They really are the future of this country and this world. And as we think about one team, one world, one cause, about making a difference, it is about making a difference about health, because in the year 2000, for every child born, 1 out of every 2 African Americans and 1 out of every 2 Latinas and Latino children are going to be diabetic. And that's why what you're doing here with the Arthur Ashe Institute for Urban Health is so very, very important. I just want to thank you for making such a difference. And you know, now I get to talk about Arthur. Yeah. Well, you know, it's odd. It's not odd, but you have to remember we were born the same year, 1943. He's from the East Coast. I'm from the West. Thank you, darling. I am 64, yes. And Arthur, I know you're 64 up there, so we're on the same team here. But working side by side with Arthur, and obviously my bosses, Michael Fuchs and Seth and Ross Greenberg and Rick Bernstein, I had a lot of bosses. It was so much fun because we were like family. I've worked for many networks and many people, but there is nothing so strong as the family at Time Warner. And Arthur and I were part of that. And Arthur and I started working there back in the early 80s, around 83, after we'd retired. And practically every single day during Wimbledon, the fortnight, it's 2 weeks, Arthur and I would have breakfast together. You cannot believe the god-awful stuff he would eat for breakfast. He loved beans, bacon, and toast. I said, Arthur, I can't look at it, but go ahead. You eat it. But it was so interesting how we'd always talk about so many topics, and how we'd get into it, and how much fun it was, and how bright Arthur was, and how much grace he had, and dignity. And I just, you know, we both wore glasses. We couldn't see, and people always told me we couldn't be number 1 if we wore glasses. And you know, I mean, we're both right-handed, except he had the most fluid serve. I loved his serve. I just got to watch Arthur serve. It was just so rhythmic. The kinetic linkage was perfect. It was just beautiful to watch, and so wonderful. And we would sit there, though, over the beans, bacon, and toast. I can't remember what I ate, because I'm looking at him. I'm trying not to look at what he ate. So anyway, we used to talk about education and health, because we both talked about prevention and health all the time. And it's so ironic we're here tonight. We talked about, obviously, AIDS. We talked about the race card. We talked about the gender card. Ooh, we could have a great discussion, couldn't we, about Senator Obama and Senator Clinton, couldn't we? And we talked about South Africa and apartheid. We talked about how all of us are citizens of the world. We talked about how we wanted tennis to be more hospitable and be inclusive. He was so much fun to be around. He wasn't the easiest guy to draw things out of, though. But if you ask him a question about all these subjects, boy, he'd get into it, and that's how I got him going. And we both came from public parks, and so we could talk about being a public park kids. And Arthur wanted to make a difference. was so obvious in his body language and every thought he had. And I see him writing for the Washington Post while we're, in between doing our broadcast for HBO, and just marvel at all the things he had going on. And there's always somebody in the back of the studio that wanted to talk to Arthur and ask him to do something or for something. I mean, they're always standing in the back of the studio. Can I talk to Arthur? Can I talk to Arthur? And you knew it was could you, would you, can you. So he just was so great at the balancing act. And he always told me he would never marry a feminist. And then he married Jeannie Ashwell. He got a huge feminist in Jeannie. So I used to give him such a bad time. We had so much fun laughing about that. And of course, Camera, he was so proud of Camera when they adopted Camera, their daughter. And I always remember him telling me when he took Camera around Wimbledon. And he talked about each court and the matches and the friendships he had made and the relationships and how excited he was about that day. I'll never forget when he came back saying, I took Camera around today and I wanted to tell her my story. And Camera at the time was 5 years old. This was very important to Arthur because he knew that he had AIDS by now. And for 4 years, everybody at HBO knew he had AIDS, and we never told him. We never said a word. It never got out publicly. But the whole HBO family knew for 4 entire years, and Arthur didn't even know it. And when he found out that we had kept that quiet and private for him, because that was important to him, he couldn't believe it. And I remember us talking. He has done so much for this world. Even today, his legacy truly, truly lives on through each and every one of you, and me too. And I talk to him every day. I talked to him today because I knew I was coming tonight. And I just hope everyone will celebrate. And one last story. We both had our our afros in 1975. And at the Wimbledon Ball, we won Wimbledon. That was when he beat Jimmy Connors. He played this unbelievable match. He also went to Plan B. He didn't play his normal way, and which was unbelievable. He kind of did a lot of slicing to Jimmy's forehand and gave him anyway, everything was working great. And also, it's the first time I've ever seen Arthur hold up his fist in defiance. And I was so happy he actually showed it. I loved it. I was so happy that day. I'll never forget it. But that night we're dancing, and we both had our afros. And I did an afro because I want everyone to know that black is beautiful. That's why I wore it as a statement. That's exactly why I wore it in 1975. So we're dancing, and I go, Arthur, have you noticed? We both have afros. And I said, but yours is real. Mine's a perm. So we had a great time, but I thought I might tell you a few of these little stories because it's always fun to know the personal side of somebody, and it was great. And I know Arthur and I were so proud to belong to the Time Warner family, and I know you're still up there, Arthur, and we're all here. A lot of us are here tonight, and we're with you, but I just want to congratulate you for the Arthur Ashe Institute for Urban Health, each and every one of you that are truly making a difference about this. And thank you for allowing me to share the evening with you and tell you a few stories about Arthur. Thank you very much. It's a true honor, and let's celebrate. Thank you.